a citizen, that they would treat their elders with respect. That would be sort of the norm and what would be expected. So it's sort of a shame that these types of cases have to be brought, but I guess under the circumstances, these things do happen. I think what's probably most interesting, Michael, is when you're doing a VAWA case, what evidence would you use, or what evidence would you tell a client that they would need in order to file a self-petition under the Violence Against Women Act?
See, some violence against women is not as difficult as violence against a parent. Okay, woman, because if he's beating her, harassing her, subjecting her to torture, and there have been cases where the women have come to me that they have been in jail for the last 2 years. The husband doesn't even let them go out of the home. And she cannot make even phone call to parents or any friends. And she's not even given a proper food to eat. Now the children. So mistreatment, in a way you call it a mistreatment or violence, it could be active violence or beating and hitting and those kind of activities. I have seen some women going forward, calling 911. There's a police report there. There's some injuries happen, that they go and meet with a doctor to the hospital for treatment. Then there are some organizations like Sakhi and some other Indian organizations where these women go and try to seek assistance. Psychological treatment, so there are many different ways as to document that.
Right, and so I think, but most importantly, Michael, I think what you're helping our viewers to understand is that there is a full gamut or a full array of methodologies that our viewers can use if they're looking to document a VAWA case. For example, if you make a 911 call, that is, believe it or not, something that is documented.
Correct.
And you can, I'm not sure that I know exactly how to do it, but it's possible to get a copy of the recording from a 911. I'm sure that our viewers have heard 911 recordings from high-profile cases. If you have a police report that's filed, obviously that's a written document that you can get. If you go to see a psychologist or a mental health professional, those are reports that are written. Also, the individual, of course, can put forth an affidavit. And by writing an affidavit, although it's a self-serving document, that too can be used as evidence in a VAWA case.
See, yeah, but in case of parents, it's a little harder, because no matter what, parent always worries or cares about the child. He's reluctant or hesitant to file any complaint against the son or daughter where he's living with. Not only because of that reason, but they're also afraid that that may cause, and that happens in the women's is to also the woman, the wife or the children or a parent, that by taking that kind of action, they may be subjected to more violence and mistreatment.
That's right, and that's why an individual's affidavit is not really a complaint or a filing, so that's something that's helpful, or a hospital record or a medical record, that can be used also. And what's really great about the VAWA process is that there's a team of experts at the Vermont Service Center who are in a special department who process the VAWA cases along with the T visas for trafficked individuals who are trafficked into the United States, and U visas who are individuals who are victims of certain crimes like false imprisonment or rape, beating, something like that. And these people, the individuals who sit in this special department at the Vermont Service Center are experts in that area, and they are able to look at the evidence and determine its credibility, and to also understand the nuances associated with obtaining certain types of evidence for those cases.
In other words, the government, the immigration service, related agencies are very sympathetic about these issues, both, I would say, VAWA as well as U visas. Now, that comes to the second subject of U visas, which is different than VAWA. I think U visa is for victims of a crime. So let's hear from you about U visas. What kind of persons qualify for U visas? What is the procedure for that? And again, the same question that you had. What kind of evidence can be submitted on U visa cases?
Right. Well, more and more, there's a lot of interest by individuals who are calling our firm about the U visa classification. The first thing, and probably the most important thing, is that people think that there are only 10,000 U visas around. So 10,000 U visas on a fiscal year basis, Michael, means that from October 1st until September 30th, there are 10,000 U visas. And this past year, the U visas did run out. They used them all. And so what they did is they ended up, what they do is they create almost like a wait list. And so what happens is that on October 1st, when new visas are dumped into that classification, they continue to process those visas, which is great. So
when you say victims of a crime, I have something to read
victims
here.
of certain crimes.
Certain
correct,
crimes.
yes.
Let me read some other things that I have here,
Please.
and then you can make
Great.
comments. The kind of qualifying criminal activity is something like abduction, abusive sexual contact, blackmail, domestic violence, extortion, false imprisonment, as I said earlier,
Yes.
genital female mutilation, the Chinese cases, some of them happen under this category, felonious assault, hostage, incest, involuntary servitude, kidnapping, manslaughter, murder, obstruction of justice, peonage, like treating a person like a peon, keeping him in that capacity, perjury, prostitution, rape, sexual assault, sexual exploitations, slave trader, trafficking, witness tampering, unlawful criminal restraint. All of these are considered as crimes and for which a U visa can be obtained. But I have to ask a question. This is a common question going to come from our viewers. They say, I'm illegally in the US and I've been subjected to violent acts under VAWA or you have criminal activity. Does my effort to get benefits either under VAWA or trying to get a U visa, is it possible because I'm illegal here, I crossed the border or came on a visitor visa and been staying here illegally in the US, or I'm not entitled because I entered illegally, or I am illegally staying in the US? What would you say?
Right. Well, I understand the question, Michael, because it's a question that a lot of our clients and a lot of people who call our office have. Their questions have to do with, well, if I'm out of status, do I have an ability to get into status with the U visa? And in fact, you do. The U visa allows you to get into status from being out of status. It's a very special visa that way. And then it also provides a nice opportunity for an individual to move on to get the green card. Because once you have U visa status for 3 years, you're then allowed to apply for adjustment of status under Section 245M of the Immigration and Nationality Act.
So the answer is that should not be a problem.
That's correct, Michael. That's not a problem.
Because the people are worried. No, every time you talk to them about VAWA, they say no, but they will, if they deny, they can deport me.
Well, Michael, there is a flip side to the coin. And the flip side of the coin, of course, is that when somebody files a U visa application, you don't know whether it's going to be approved or whether it's going to be denied. If it's denied, then you may have opened up the Pandora's box, if you will, by disclosing information about your client to the government. They know where to find them and how to find them. And you've given the government a lot of information. So is there a possibility, is in the minds of the person who does an application like that, that if that case is denied, because they don't have a good solid U visa, is there a possibility that the government is going to come after them and try to put them into a removal proceeding? And that's unfortunately not something that we can guarantee. But it's very important, of course, that if you're considering doing a U visa application, that what you want to do is talk to a professional, like Michael, like myself, like many of the other professionals out there who are doing U visa applications and petitions. Make sure that they are able to give you an assessment of what they think the strength of your case is.
Same thing like in suspension of removal cases. People say that I have been here for more than 10 years, I have equities here, I have a wife who is a green card holder or whatever, and if I am placed in deportation proceedings or I want myself to volunteer in order to get the benefit of the suspension of removal, which obviously gets a person a green card if that is granted, they are taking the same type of risk. I mean, again, on a case-by-case basis, a good experienced lawyer can guide you, can advise you the extent of the risk. Nobody can tell you that 100% your case will be done or that you have no risk at all. There's always risk, whether risk is here, here, or here.
Correct.
That is where you need a good experienced attorney who can go over all the information, background, documentation that can be furnished in support and give you guidance. Listen, this is a very good case, and you have to make a decision whether you want to try or always take people that if they say no, I say then you may wait until there's a new law or something that could benefit. So these are the two very important categories, the VAWA and the U visas, that some of the people in those situations may qualify. And
That's
they
right.
should not hesitate to go ahead with, if especially somebody is like in a jail or somebody is constantly getting a beating and violence. I think it's a good idea to look seriously into those kind of options. David, we are running out of time. And we hope that this information or this type of information that we will continue to provide to you from time to time will be very helpful to our viewers. Please do not hesitate. Listen, one person said that, oh, I was afraid, I never talked to you because I was afraid. Afraid of what? You are going to a good lawyer who wants to hear you and give you proper advice. We don't work for the government. Don't be afraid. Just come forward and tell your story, and we'll see what we can do. Thank you very much for watching the program. As I said, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please contact us. Thank you very much, and goodbye.